Most of the time when we talk about serial killers, we're thinking about the ones from decades ago, the big names: Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the guys who get all the documentaries and Netflix specials. But the other day I caught myself wondering, what about the recent ones? Because let's be real, serial killers didn't just vanish with the 80s and 90s. These crimes still happen today. They just don't always get the same attention. And that brings me to tonight's story. We're going to be talking about one of those more recent cases, the Metro Detroit serial killer. Now, his real name was Kenyel Brown, and his spree took place across 3 cities in Wayne County, Michigan between 2019 and 2020, so not all that long ago. Let me back up for a second. Brown was born on July 3, 1979, into a big family with a bunch of brothers and sisters. On paper, his early years looked promising. In high school, he was this incredibly gifted basketball player at River Road. People thought he might really make something of himself, but at the same time, he developed a drug addiction, and that completely changed his path. His demeanor shifted, he got more reckless, and crime followed. From 1997 to 2019, so we're talking over 20 years, he racked up arrest after arrest. His charges ran the gamut: attacking someone with a weapon, illegally selling a taser, drug possession, and even causing a car crash that killed one person and seriously injured another. And get this, after that fatal crash, he tried to run from the scene, but police caught him and charged him with second-degree murder. You'd think that would have kept him locked away for years, right? Nope. Somehow he never served lengthy time for any of it. Then came 2015, and this is where it gets really messy. Brown gets recruited by the ATF to work as an informant. And not just for a little bit, for 5 years. The kicker? He was on parole at the time, and yet every time he violated parole conditions, he got a pass. No penalties. Why? Because he was useful. Which, even cops who break rules get disciplined. But Brown, he walked away untouched. And this wasn't just minor stuff. He was getting DUIs left and right, and all he got was a trip to rehab. No jail, no real consequences. It was during that window, when he was supposed to be supervised, that his killing spree began. According to USA Today, Brown just snapped, and supposedly, quote, no one saw it coming. Really? No one saw it coming after years of escalating crimes? And I don't know about you, but that's a hard one for me to swallow. His first murder was on December 7, 2019. He shot and killed 31-year-old Lauren Harrington in River Rouge. The frustrating thing about this one, there's not much out there about it, like why it happened. Not that there's ever a good reason, but usually we at least get some backstory. All I could find is that Harrington was shot multiple times inside a house on Beechwood Street. Then, on January 30th, 2020, things escalated fast. Brown went to visit an old childhood friend, Dorian Patterson. That day, Dorian's brother Gerald left for work while Brown, Dorian, and friends Kimberly Green and Clifton Bo Smith hung out drinking. Gerald said everything seemed fine when he left. But later that day, while he was at work, his sister called. There were police all over the house. So Gerald tries to call Dorian, no answer. And that was weird because Dorian always answered. Gerald rushed home, but by then it was too late. Police stopped him at the door. The house was a crime scene. And here's the detail that really hit. Police asked Gerald if he knew anyone who wore an army fatigue jacket. And immediately, Gerald knew it was Brown. By then, Brown had killed Dorian and Kimberly. He also shot Clifton Smith 23 times, but somehow Smith survived. He ran out of the apartment, flagged down a passing police officer, and lived to tell the tale. By the time the police got inside, though, Brown had already disappeared. 18 days later, he struck again. This time he shot 49-year-old Garcias Woodyard in the head during a robbery, and he didn't stop. On February 20th, 2020, Brown killed 41-year-old Amir Thaxton, a hardworking father of two, a graphic artist, a guy just trying to build a future for his kids. Thaxton had his own clothing brand, Gorilla Hustle and Beautiful Hustle. He was ambitious. He was hustling for his family. And it's believed Brown went to him for money. Whether Thaxton didn't have it or he just refused, Brown shot him, stole his Dodge Caravan, and took cash and valuables. The only reason police tied Brown to it was surveillance footage. Cameras caught him visiting Thaxton the very day of the murder. 2 days later, Brown killed again. This time his victim was 36-year-old Eugene Jennings, murdered during another attempted car theft. At this point, the manhunt was massive. Police knew exactly who they were looking for. They just couldn't catch him. But that changed on February 24th when Brown was spotted at an adult bookstore in Oak Park. 2 employees recognized him and called police. Soon officers had barricaded off several blocks around the store. Brown tried slipping through nearby houses, but residents saw him and police eventually cornered him in a backyard. With nowhere left to run, Brown shot himself in the head. Didn't die right away. He hung on for 4 more days in the hospital before passing away on February 28th. Now, the aftermath of all of this is a mess. The Detroit Police Department has been working with the DEA in a joint task force, but after Brown's crimes came to light, Detroit pulled out. Chief James Craig said he hadn't even been told about Brown's parole violations, and if he had, he would have never approved using him as an informant. And honestly, can you blame him? Craig called it a breach of trust, especially when a DEA official denied Brown had ever been an informant in the first place. That denial was the final straw. Craig pulled his officers from the partnership. Then came the lawsuit. Remember Clifton Doe Smith, the man shot 23 times? He filed a lawsuit against the city of Detroit saying they knew Brown's history and still allowed him to operate, which directly led to his injuries. He asked for $75,000 in damages, and the only thing I could find as far as like an outcome of that lawsuit was on the govinfo.gov website, and it was from May of 2024. And under the docket section, it said unpublished opinion and judgment filed affirmed. Mandate to issue, decision not for publication. And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that means we won't know because it's, I guess, sealed or something like that. Now, here's where this story gets even more frustrating, because when killers die by suicide, the families of their victims are left with nothing. No trial, no justice, just questions. Kimberly Green's daughter, Brianna, has been demanding answers. Like, why was Brown, a known felon, allowed to become a DEA informant literally hours after being released from supervision? It just doesn't make sense. Something about this is, well, fishy. And let's be honest, we'll probably never get a straight answer. Federal agencies aren't exactly famous for saying, yeah, we messed up. That's just not how it works. So that's the story of the Metro Detroit serial killer, the short version of it. And his name was Kenyel Brown. And that's all I've got for you for tonight's episode of Bloodshed and Breadcrumbs. Be sure to check out the episode description for links. And join me next week for another story. Until then, stay safe and good night.